So Chinese traveler Xuanzang who visited India recorded the general conditions and culture of India at the time. In this context, which of the following statement is correct? Correct. The 2013. The roads and river routes were completely immune from robbery. That is absolute statement. Enormous or drastically. Okay, these kind of words you can easily eliminate. Then again, as regards punishment for offences, ordeal by fire, water and poison were the instrument determining the innocence of guilt of a person. In ancient India, the judicial punishments were quite harsh. You can say that is yes. The tradesmen had to pay duties of ferries and barrier status. Yes, the taxation was one of the major important functions of ancient India. So that's the correct answer. First statement you need to eliminate. 2 and 3 is left. First statement you eliminate again. First statement you eliminate again. So which is left? That is 2 and 3. Answer is B. This was asked in 2013. But along with Xuanzang, some other travelers also came to India. That is Faxian. Then again Yijing. So we discuss all of them too. First we will discuss Xuanzang. That is also called as Chen Hui, and again Xuanzang. So different pronunciation. And in Sanskrit is called as Mokshadeva. He came between 629 to 645 CE. Okay. Then at the same time he came to India through Central Asia. Okay, like Yijing, he came through Indonesia. Okay, but Xuanzang, he came through Central Asia. Okay, so different routes also. Sometimes they can put this question if you want to make it really difficult. They can make this kind of statement. So, and he visited Nalanda University and he stayed there and he studied with a monk called as Silabhadra. Okay, so but the major intention of these travelers is to collect Buddhist literature and to study more about Buddhism. And a Buddhist, this Silabhadra was a Buddhist monk and expert in Yogacara philosophy. We talked about Madhyamika and Yogacara, belong to Mahayana Buddhism, Vasubandhu, Asanga, these things. Okay, at the same time, he studied at Matipura, another monastery in Uttar Pradesh, with a monk named Mitrasena. So, 2 monks he met, Mitrasena as well as Silabhadra, because UPSC is asking this minor unknown names of this particular religion, different sects occur there. And you can also link the Xuanzang visited or they had we can say narration with Silabhadra and Mitrasena. These kind of questions can also be asked. Okay, so I visited Harsha's court. He visited Pulikeshi's second, Badami Chalukya, then Narasimhavarman, that is Pallavas. Harsha is Pushyabhuti dynasty or the Vardhana dynasty. Pulikeshi is Badami Chalukyas, and then Narasimhavarman is Pallavas. So these were the contemporaries of India when Xuanzang visited India. And Harsha got defeated by Pulikeshi second. Narasimhavarman defeated Pulikeshi second. Okay, when we talk about Pallavas, one question was asked about them, we will talk about that one too. Okay, and he visited certain cities of India like Kanchi, Lumbini, Kashmir, okay, Kanauj, Badami, Amravati, Nagarjunakonda, and Ajanta caves also. So if they want to make the question difficult, they can just put Xuanzang visited India so and so time period, over the contemporaries, and also they can ask about the places he might have visited. Second, Faxian, he came to India during the time period of Chandragupta II. His birth name was Sehi. Okay, so during the reign of Chandragupta II, after Samudragupta, between 399 to 412, is the first Chinese traveler to visit. Chronologically, Faxian first, Xuanzang second, and then again we can talk about Yijing. But because that question was about Xuanzang, first we discussed about Xuanzang, and then we came about Faxian. Okay, and then his purpose was to collect again sacred Buddhist textbooks, almost the same intention with which other travelers also came, and he visited the place of Buddha's birthplace, that is Lumbini, then Bodh Gaya, Banaras, Shravasti and Kushinagar. So all these places are important for Buddhism also and Hinduism also. And he learned Sanskrit during his stay at Pataliputra. Okay, and in 414 he wrote about his travelogue. Okay, so that is called as Fukoki, a record of Buddhistic kingdoms in the east we can talk about. So about the Buddhist kingdoms in India. Okay, at the same time Fukoki are also called as Fugoji. I don't want to get into Chinese pronunciation. So this was written by, that is Siyuki by Xuanzang, Fukoki by Faxian. One more traveler, Yijing or Yijing, different names are there. Chinese traveler and translator. Okay, so he influenced by Faxian and Xuanzang also, both of them. Okay, so if first came to Srivijaya, that is today's Sumatra island. There's one place called as Palembang, today it is called as, then it was called as Srivijaya. And from there he came to eastern coast of India. And he learnt Sanskrit in that particular place. And he came to eastern coast of India around 673. So Faxian came first, Xuanzang second, and then again Yijing is the third person to come. And he left India in 685 CE. So he stayed there for nearly 12 to 13 years. Then again he studied Buddhist student of the Buddhist University of Nalanda. For 10 years he was there. Okay, and at the same time he also studied Tamralipti, that is in West Bengal. That is in West Bengal, Tamralipti. And again, two of Yijing's best travel diaries, that is Xuanzang was Seiyuki, 500 Fukuoki. In Yijing's he wrote 2, and that is account of the Buddhism sent from the South Seas, and a Buddhist monk's pilgrimage of the Tang dynasty. The Tang dynasty is a Chinese dynasty then. Chinese dynasty then. Okay, so these are the 2 works of Yijing. Account of Buddhism sent from the South Seas, then again the Buddhist monk's pilgrimage. Fukuoki by Faxian, F and F, and Seiyuki by Xuanzang. So these are that can be asked for match the following also. What they wrote, what they majorly talk about, they almost talk about social conditions of India, political conditions of India, how Buddhism evolved, Buddhism teachings. Okay, then again little bit about the caste system in India, philosophical system in India, everything. So it's quite difficult to go through all of them, but we can say we have a general idea. You can use some kind of extreme statements to eliminate any kind of statements over there. Okay, and then again Kautilya's Arthashastra was asked in 2022. According to Kautilya's Arthashastra, which of the following are correct? Again, we cannot read Arthashastra to answer all these questions, but again little bit logic we can use over there. So a person could be a slave as a result of judicial punishment. Slaves were there during Rigvedic and later Vedic times, and person can be punished as a slave. Okay, and the person can be made as a slave as a punishment. And if a female slave bore her master a son, she was legally free. That was one of the duties about one of the gender that was expected in ancient India. And again, if a son was born to a female slave and she was fathered by her master, the son was entitled to the legal status of the master son. I think entire Hindu law is there. So entire Dharma Shastras which talks about the right of the son from the father's property, because of patriarchal in nature. Okay, because it is fathered by her master, obviously son we can expect little bit that one. Okay, and also this is not in kind of a extreme statements are not there. We can say some kind of the mild statements we can say. Person could be as a slave. Okay, if. Okay, at the same time again if. These are all kind of small probable statements. Probable statements. The probable statements sometimes most of the time they are right. Okay, the 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3 answer is D. Okay, so what we can learn from this particular concept, we can talk about Arthashastra. And Kautilya was also called Vishnugupta or Chanakya. He is a teacher at Takshila, and he helped Chandragupta Maurya to establish a Mauryan dynasty. He wrote Arthashastra in Sanskrit. It's a kind of an encyclopedia. It talks about everything you know about or you don't know about. Administration, internal administration, interstate administration, recommendation law, prison, taxation, irrigation, agriculture, everything he talks about. Coinage, manufacturing, mining, fortification, then Saptanga, administration, theory of Mauryas, everything talks about by Arthashastra. It was lost textbook, but it was rediscovered in 1905 by one of the scholars called as Shama Shastri. It was rediscovered by Shama Shastri in 1905. Okay, so this is one textbook we can talk about. And then now come to, with reference to guilds or shrenis, one more concept is there in ancient India that played a very important role in country's economy. So the following statement is correct. First we need to understand what are guilds or shrenis is. These concepts started evolving after 600 BC. Okay, 600 BC to 300 BC. Okay, 300 BC to 200 BC. 200 BC to 100 BC. Okay, so 100 BC to we can come to until 300 AD also. Okay, we'll come to 1 BC, 2 B, 0 BC, 1 AD, 300 AD. So during this point of time period, what happened is that the trade was growing, and the trade was growing due to contribution by Vaishyas. Why trade was growing? Because of agriculture. Why agriculture was growing? Because of iron. Linked it thing 600 BC time onwards. Before that one, around later with the time period, foundation discovery of iron happened. Foundation for second urbanization happened. Until 300 AD, this time period is called as the peak of the second urbanization. And this is Maurya's time period, 300 to 200. And 200 to 300 AD, we can talk about the post-Mauryas, the Kushanas, the Indo-Greeks and Bactrians. During that period of time, these traders, the Vaishyas, they are organized into associations. And the manufacturers of different, we can say, arts and crafts, like we can talk about carpenters, or we can say coin makers, jewelry makers, or we can say the iron makers. Okay, so silver, we can say the those who worked in silver, those who worked in copper and bronze. Okay, then washerman, and we can say cloth producers. Everyone, they came to be organized association, and they are called as the guilds. They are called as the guilds, also called as Shreni. And these guilds used to have heads, and these heads are called as Jetaka. Okay, sometimes also called as Shettis. Okay, Shettis. So different terms are used, and used to control these members. Okay, members of this particular guild, all the carpenters in one particular guild. There's the head of this particular guild. Used to control them. There are so many rules and regulation. Like today, what we have, like OPEC, we can talk about Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries. They are coming together in an association to control the distribution, production of petroleum products. And now they used to control their particular product. If the carpenters, they would control the supply demand of the availability of labor for the carpentry. Again, coins maker, they would to control this supply and demand. Okay, initially coins were issued by merchants, not by kings. Okay, later the kings made that as a monopoly. And this question was asked back in 2012. We understood the concept of guilds, and I will come to understand this one. Every guild was registered with the central authority and central authority of the state, and the king was the chief administrative authority of them. So it is wrong. We know the chief administrative authority, separate head was there, Jetakar Shetty. Okay, and then again, the wages, rules of work, standards and prices were fixed by the guilds. Yes, that is a major intention with which the guilds were formed. Then guild had judicial powers over its own members. Yes, because the judicial system of the ancient India was based upon their particular Varna system. And the Vaishya Varna was there, their own judicial rules and regulations were there. And the Jetaka or Shettis, they had judicial powers over the members. Yes, this is right, and this is also right, and this is wrong. Very simple. Select the correct answer using the codes given below. 1 and 2. 1 is wrong. 3 only, 2 and 3 only, and 1, 2, 3. We know the answer is C. That is 2 and 3. We understood the guilds concept over there. Okay, nothing to build over on that one. So guilds are mainly associations of the different arts and crafts. Different arts and crafts, we can say. Okay. And again, Vishti, one more concept. Okay, so with reference to forced labor Vishti in India during the Gupta period, which of the following statement is correct? First, we understand the Vishti concept. Vishti means, like suppose it started to evolve by the time of the Mauryas. Particularly that was sanctioned by Chanakya or Kautilya or Vishnugupta. In his book, we can talk about Arthashastra. Some kind of interlinkages between that particular textbook as well as this Vishti concept. And now, one of the important functions of the Mauryan dynasty was the taxation. The Mauryan state believed, even Arthashastra believed that one, because the Mauryan state system we understand through Arthashastra, believed that one, every person should pay tax. Every person should pay tax because of their production activities. So, who are engaged in production activities? The Vaishyas are engaged. Okay, but Shudras were not engaged. Shudras were not engaged in any kind of production activities because initially they were slaves. So that is the reason what this particular concept came about during that point of time is that one. That is what Chanakya did was that Shudras are not paying any kind of taxation. So they should give their services. If they don't give, we will force them to give services. And Shudras were made to work forcefully. Where? In agricultural lands. So they are providing their labor. Shudras are providing their labor, and that labor will be considered as a tax. And that forced labor is called as Vishti. Shudras are not paying any taxation. So that is the reason Kautilya come up with this particular concept. There is a concept of that is Shudras should be made to work. So that work will be considered as a taxation, and that is forced labor. And this is continued. And this continued from the time during the time period of Guptas also, Mauryas, post-Mauryas as well as Guptas also. And that is being enforced upon untouchables also. That was enforced upon untouchables. Untouchables are different than the Shudras. Okay. And now it was considered a source of income for the state, a sort of tax paid by the people. Yes. It was totally absent in Madhya Pradesh. Absolute statement. No need to read further. Forced labor was entitled to weekly wages. If it is forced labor, why would we give any kind of entitlement of any wages? Again, opposite concept is being discussed. The eldest son of the laborers was sent as the forced laborer. It was imposed upon everybody, not on one particular section of the society. So answer is it's a kind of a source of income. Okay, so taxation was a kind of income. Certain section were not paying taxation and they were made to pay taxation. They were made to pay taxation. Okay, so that is forced labor, we can say.